This is a great topic because it's really right in line with how I was thinking, and I think one of the great things about a series like The Boys, which you just watch, is now at the end of it, we can go back and kind of look at what I was shocked by, what I expected to happen, what I didn't expect to happen, and just kind of looking at how shit started for various characters and how it ended. So the first one obviously is Homelander. I got him up on the screen. Just trying to get here so I can monitor my chat here. What? What's going on? What's going on here? Right, we're totally streaming, but okay, it's not here yet. Oh wait, that ain't it either. Wow, what's going on here? Let's view my channel. All right, let's go to my live. There we go. Okay, gotta do it right. I got to do it. So this is how it started off. Like I'm starting as kind of a very simple analysis. Sometimes it's just important to look at what you see in front of you, right? Like look at the screen in front of you, and this just kind of captures two elements, right? Like this up top is the first time I saw Homelander on the screen, right? So I'm literally going to the first moment that I saw him on the screen, right? And then obviously the last moment of him being on the screen as well. So this is where my mind starts to go back and fill in all the gaps. Like, how did we get here? And this was an interesting ride, man. I can't, I came into it totally naive of the story. I gotta admit, it's my homie Mike, Magic Coffee. If you ever see him commenting, it's my man Magic Coffee who put me on the series. Dude I worked with, and we work really closely together. Like our offices are right next to each other, and we had a lot of co-projects that we worked on. We're for a software company back in the day, not even back in the day, it wasn't that long ago. But we're real tight. He's a younger cat than me, but he's totally into obviously into comic books. And once he realized I was into it too, he's like, "Yeah, you got to check this series out." So I got onto the boys like pretty early on, but a couple of episodes, like it might have been like episode 3 or 4 before I was like really into the series. So he told me, and I'm like, okay, I'll peep it out. And I already had Prime or whatever was on. So I put it on, and like this is obviously opening, and you guys probably, I'm sure you guys remember the opening scene with him and Maeve stopping the armored truck, right? That's where that's where this is, and this is the first time we see Homelander's face after they've already like started this rescue, right? So he's on the scene as a hero. And so I'm kind of feeling it at the moment. Again, I haven't gone deep. I haven't done any research on the show, which is good because I didn't really want. I wanted to experience the show. I just wanted the show to happen, and I had no idea that 5 years later I'd still be talking about the show. Right? I had no idea at the time that it was going to be like a show that I followed into such detail. But I quickly latched on to Homelander being a version of Superman, and that immediately attracted my attention because I'm like, okay, I love these Superman derivatives. He became less and less a Superman derivative as he went on, right? His divergence from someone like Clark, like I see more Superman in Omni Man than necessarily in Homelander, but I get it. Awesome power set, the laser eyes, fly, all that stuff, the durability, absolutely, absolutely. I could see that analogy. Past like kind of the cosmetic stuff, there's zero similarities. Like he leads the Seven, like the Justice League. But seeing this first image, I'm like, okay, this is their superhero guy. This is their Superman guy. Whatever, he looks legit. I felt like your costume was a little corny, right? Like it's overdone, like Homelander, but it should be because it's a parody of Superman. Like absolutely, it should be. It was absolutely fitting, and I'm already believing you as like this parody Superman. I had no idea how it would end up. If you had asked me right then, do you think it's going to end up like this, right? I would have said, I don't know, if you got some other options, right? I don't know if I would have picked this one, right? Because if you only show me this, I'm like, yeah, this is how it ends. Because obviously you're showing me. But you show me like 3 or 4 realistic scenarios, one where he's living on a mountain, one where he's like discovered and what? It's not eligible for recommendation and is restricted in search results. What is going on with YouTube? Excuse me, TikTok. Like I'm getting hit up for suspicious activity? What the hell? Wow, I just got this message while streaming. that I'm like TikTok is looking at me for suspicious activity. What kind of activity could you possibly be talking about? I come here and talk about comic books. So they're not distributing me, which is why nobody's in here, which whatever. That's what happens with social media companies, man. They just do whatever. Like for anybody who checks out the stream, like this is what I do. I just talk about, I usually put images up. I don't put any video up anywhere. I'm not copywriting anybody's image. I talk about media and movies and stuff like that. So that's kind of shocking. But that happened live, but man, whatever, TikTok. I can't really adjust to whatever you're doing. So this is fine. This is cool. But the main thing, like getting back to the topic of Homelander, I was a little surprised by how we got there, like the mechanisms. I think pretty quickly, you start to get a sense of who he is by the first episode, right? Like this scene comes on, and obviously they're kind of building him up. I think shortly after this comes a scene with Starlight and the Deep, and that really would start to define the series, right? Like define the series. To me, now that really opens up where I'm like, oh, okay, this is off the hook. And then of course the Huey scene with A Train. That was obviously like a defining moment, letting you kind of know what the series is gonna really be all about. So like this was absolutely an on point series. Okay. So I absolutely get this. Okay. So coming into it, this is the initial Homelander, but by episode 1, we're kind of like, oh, okay. And this is where he allows the people to die in the ship or in the airplane. And this is kind of how I got at him, right? So, you have that whole airplane rescue situation, which it was a hostage situation. It was a terrorist situation, and could those people have survived? Yes. Should he have been able to save those people? 100%. Okay, those people the plane wasn't crashing. Once him and Maeve were able to get on board the plane, what he does, he's the one who destroys the controls with his own laser eyes, and he doesn't want anybody to know this, right? So this is what, first of all, he's like, I can't save everybody because I just shot the controls. This plane's going down. I can't stop a plane from going down. So he quickly dismisses the idea. Now, he's like, Maeve is like, well, we save as many as we can. No, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that because anybody who survives now has some truth about him. Now this is that video, like everybody's got these cameras. So pretty quickly, we get the sense that, damn, this dude don't really care about anybody. Like he's literally willing to sacrifice this plane full of people versus saying, yeah, you know what? I might have messed up a little bit, right? Like I might have messed up here. I might have made a mistake. He didn't want to be shown making a mistake, which is using his lasers out of control and, destroying the controls. Once he did that, it was done. Once he did that, everybody was getting ready to die, right? Like he knew it. Now, the fact that his ego was so important to him, or his image was so important to him, that he didn't even want to try to say who they could, right? Like Maeve said it right. Like you can take, how many people can you carry? Take 2 people, go, come back. Do what you can, right? Maeve can try. I don't know. She can't fly, so I don't know what Maeve would have really done in that scenario. It's bad business for her, too, because he had to fly you out of there. Maeve really needed a jetpack. Let's just be really honest. I feel like Vought could have got her a jetpack. But anyway, I digress. So right off the bat, like by this episode, we already realized that Homelander is narcissistic to a fatal degree, a fatal level of narcissism, that their lives don't matter more than what your reputation matters, your rating. So we're getting a sense of him. We start to see him right off the bat as like, yeah, you're a bully. Yeah, you kind of push me around, because he was already kind of bullying at work. So we get this real sense like right away of who he is. I don't know if I still at this point would have been like, yeah, he needs to get a crowbar to the dome. I don't know that at this point yet. But obviously, at some point, I'm trying to think, what was the moment for me with Homelander where he like really bugged out? I guess as I started to understand like the whole Becca situation, I'm like, yeah, you're a rapist, and that's bad. Like that's a lot. For me, that's a lot. I didn't dismiss that, your encounter with Beck. I did not dismiss that, so I already kind of took that as pretty serious. And then I think when they started revealing some stuff about Black Noir, then so it's probably 2 or 3 episodes in where I'm really feeling like I can't put my hand on an exact like thing that he did. Maybe he was in that building. Him and Maeve went on another mission, and there were some terrorists like in a building. It seemed like he was in the United States for sure. And the way he killed those guys, like, yeah, right off the bat with that, man. Like, first of all, okay, like if I'm Maeve, I stop kicking it with you too. Maeve was 100% right about fuck you, Homelander, because we saw that scene where they're about to go into the building together. Like the terrorists were up there. It's a skyrise building, high-rise building, right? And this son of a bitch flies up there, and Maeve's got to walk up and take fucking elevator all the way up to the top, right? Which is BS, 100%. And if I'm her, I'm pissed off too, because we ain't no kind of team if you can fly, but you gonna make me walk all the way up there. Like it ain't even heroic no more. Like when I get there, like me taking an elevator up there is the least heroic thing that you could do, right? Being honest, if you have to take the elevator to get to the fight, it don't nobody do that. Nobody does that, okay? Spider-Man with web swing in, like Tony Stark would fly in, right? Like Batman would like swoop in on Batmobile, but whatever. Nobody takes fucking elevator up to where they gotta go, right? So that's the first issue that we have there, right? That's actually the first issue. That you already telling me you ain't the homie in no kind of way. Like, and you telling Maeve like, oh yeah, you love her, you want to have her kid, but like that's mad disrespectful. We're not even friends. If you can fly and you make me take the stairs, we ain't friends. Okay? You better figure it out. No, you can't hug me. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, I don't know, man. We have to figure something out where I don't have to feel like anyway, right? Anyway. So once I saw that him, I'm like, man, you're mad selfish too. Like, you're really mad selfish. And then the way that he killed the terrorist, it was like, yeah, all right. Like, I see you, Homelander. So by this time, like deep in episode 2, by episode 2, episode 3, we're getting a real good sense of who he is. And pretty quickly we start seeing the threats are real. Like they really get into how authentic these threats are to like Annie, like Maeve kind of revealing that the shit is kind of on. And then we get right into it with like we see some violence from A-Train, right? At least killing Robin. So at this point, I'm still not knowing that he's gonna be. We have to kill him, right? Like you need to be murked out. Man, I'm trying to think. Like, I still want to say it might be like I don't even know if it was in season 1 where I'm like, yeah, this is really a problem. I felt like it was when they were looking for Translucent. When he was looking for Translucent, I felt like, yeah, this is a problem because you guys are hiding out from him, and it's a high probability that he finds you, and like it's gonna be bad. Like so early on, I'm already seeing him as this level of threat, right? And that's appropriate. That's appropriate. I think the ride that the character, the arc of Homelander takes you on is something that kind of has to be studied, man. Like legitimately studied because it's a hell of an arc to not be told in a linear fashion, to be told in this forward moving story with a lot of context on the back end coming through, just being worked into like the everyday story. So that's kind of the big, huge thing about Homelander is given the context of him, like everything's context, right? Everything's context. Because knowing the backstory of how he got there, knowing like his history, finding out who his parents, ultimately were, or his parents ultimately was, and yeah, it's a crazy thing because they do some gender flopping in the series because I believe like Stormfront in the comic book was actually a dude, but he's the dude who gives his DNA to make, or his man seed to make Homelander, right? He literally is that person. I don't know who the other parent was, but I'm pretty sure it was Stormfront, right? So they do a little gender flop where like, why would you do the gender flop in the first place unless you add some new angle to it? So coming up with that context, like knowing who his parentage is, would I have expected this? I guess this seems like the most appropriate thing. Even in episode 1, by the end of the first season, I clearly would have agreed with this here, right? And I don't mean in condoning it. I still make the argument that the real torture for Homelander would have been to be able to live, but to be weak, right? That was the real thing. But I do get, if he was able to get Compound V in his system again, it would be very, very problematic. Because here's the thing, I don't know if he was ever injected with Compound V. Hey, okay, since Homelander was born with Compound V in his system. Is that correct? Because his parents were both soups. Is that correct? Okay, so there's no information soup, but I think that's very be created with content. Okay, so if his father was Soldier Boy, right? Do the children of the soups need Compound V to get their powers? Because like Translucent has a son. Like a lot of the soups have sons, and their kids kind of manifest their powers. So is that the V already in their system, or are those kids also being injected with Compound V? That's a big point right here. Like whether these kids, these second generation, were naturally producing Compound V or not would really matter, right? Let's see. Okay, okay. Okay, Ryan is actually the first naturally born soup. He was born with his powers and did not need Compound V. Homelander is a special case. He was engineered by Vought from conception to be their ultimate hero rather than becoming a typical Compound V recipient later in infancy. Okay, Maverick, this is Translucent son, never explicitly states whether he inherited his father's genetically or received Compound V in a child. So what Vought had been doing for decades, many fans infer was probably giving Compound V like other children. However, because his father's soup is possibly his genetics played again. Okay, so it seems like to me that Compound V is working with a certain set of genetics, and the way it manifests will be similar across at least parent-child connections. And what I mean by this is obviously Translucent and his father, Translucent and Maverick. If we also look at Victoria Newman, oh wait, that would be different. Okay, I was gonna say Victoria and her daughter, but that's actually not true. But Huey and his father did manifest similar type of powers. They both were basically teleporters, right? So there is a bit of a pattern. Obviously, Homelander and Ryan both have similar powers with the same kind of power set. Translucent and Maverick have the same power set. Huey, when he got powers, and his pops, remember when he gave him the Compound V, essentially had the same type of powers. Now, when we talk about Victoria Newman, her powers weren't even the same as her daughter's. Like her daughter definitely manifested power. What was her name? Zoe. I think it was Zoe, right? So I'm not sure. I don't know what that means. Like clearly, Compound V locks something out of your system, but like okay, because even further than that, okay, I have more examples. So like because who Andre, who was in Gen V, his powers were very similar to his pop's powers, who was named Polaris or Polar, some of that nature, right? So yeah, it's kind of inconsistent. Like the only one I've seen whose powers aren't the same within the family so far have been Victoria's. Like when there's a superpower parent, it seems quite often that the power sets are the same for the most part, right? The only one that seems to not be that is Victoria's daughter, right? She's the only one. So so he could, in Homelander's case, you burn the V out of his system. He could always get V again, and he'd be right back to what he was. Obviously, if he's under lock and key, right? in a prison system, you would expect that to be, not necessarily an issue. But I can understand that it is a risk that people are like, yeah, I don't want to take this risk, right? But it's an interesting ride to look at the character in the beginning and look at this character in the end and see how like predictable this was. Like, did we think this would happen? Another one, I got another really interesting one for you guys I want to go over because this kind of gets at the heart of the series. This is the emotional heart of the series, of course, which is Huey and Annie, right? Like obviously they're like the emotional center of the show, right? And and this is how it started. Like this is literally the moment that they met, right? It was in this scene here. Like this is a crucial moment that I think needs to be paid attention to because Annie is literally post trauma right here. I think it might have been earlier that day was her whole incident with the deep, right? I believe this is the day of the deep or the day after. It's within close proximity to that event happening, right? So she still is not a healed person, okay? So we see where they end up here, right? Her all pregnant, everybody happy, but let's remember how they met, right? And if I look back and I really analyze this and I'm like, okay, when did she give me the context on when she met him? Like what was going on when she met him? And think about who he is at this moment, right? He's just watched his girlfriend get completely blown apart by A Train. Like that's the context of who these people are in this first moment, right? Like this is who they are at this moment. They've just met. She's going through a major trauma. In fact, she had just tried to talk to her mother on the phone about this and couldn't get a word in edgewise with her mother. So she's in tears, and this is when she meets him. And this is significant because there's a little bit like if you had asked me at the beginning, like, okay, you meet this person, she's at the height of some intense trauma, like maybe some of the greatest trauma she's had in her life. This is when you meet her and you make this bond with someone who's also going through intense trauma. Would I have thought that they would be here? No. Do I even think they should be here? No. Like, I don't trust Huey at all. Like, in any regard to how he's treated Annie, like, yeah. And then the baby in your belly is named Robin. Like, the whole thing, like, rubs me wrong, right? Like, you're still mourning Robin. And I'm just saying, like, there's an emotional overlay, right? Where, for Annie, I don't know if it makes sense. It makes sense for Annie. It does make sense for Annie. You just moved away from home. You're feeling absolutely isolated. You thought you were about to be a part of the Seven, but that immediately became a source of like violence and harassment and like loss of agency. Like quickly they took that all away from you, right? So we get that. So we 100% get that. Huey kind of takes advantage of that. Like he quickly kind of like latches into her, and I'm like, look, do I think that they're a successful marriage at the end of this? Yeah, probably. I probably believe that they have a good life. Probably, right? But let's also look at it and see, like, yeah, neither one of these people have actually seen a healthy home dynamic. Neither one of them. Huey came from a broken home himself. Annie comes from a broken home herself, so they actually haven't seen a healthy dynamic. And even the conditions that they met under is the worst conditions possible. These are the worst conditions possible if your outcome is a stable relationship. And I'm being honest. Now, in hindsight, knowing everything I know about the show, am I surprised that they ended up here? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised at all, right? I have my doubts about it. I think it's dubious. I felt like Annie was selling undervalued. I think she got a much lower contract than what she deserved because she wasn't feeling good about herself. And I think in other situations, I don't know if she would have even chosen Huey. Not that he's not a bad guy, but you do prove yourself to be mad manipulative over some time. So those are the important things that I look at with Huey and Annie, right? And because I'm torn a little bit with Huey's development as a character throughout the series because he makes increasingly more dangerous moves. He becomes far more reckless, and he is obsessed. It's always kind of categorized that he was changing Butcher, but I think Butcher was changing him. I think a lot of the stuff that he did ultimately, Butcher would be very proud of, right? I think that it would be even killing him in the end. I think Butcher wanted that to happen. So I think that's why it was such a like, more you put him out of his misery, and that gave him like he could sleep now, right? That's really what it was. That's what I really felt about that moment. But Huey, man, like you went through some changes too. And am I happy? How do I feel about it? Do I feel good for the characters? Um, yeah, I think that they can have simple life happiness with the baby. I think they can 100% do that. Am I a little concerned that neither one of you has ever really seen a healthy dynamic? I'm a little concerned, but I also think these guys would probably do something like go to counseling, right? I think they'd be responsible by handling your marriage. I don't think having a daughter named Robin is like, I don't see how people feel about that, but I'm like, yeah, you can't, don't name our child after your ex. Like, in no way, shape, or form, right? Like in no way, shape, or form. So I think that's massively problematic, but it is what it is, right? Like she went for it, and I just think that's Annie, not loving Annie as much as she should. This is my take on it. This is my take on it, right? But I individually, I like both of them. Her more than him by a lot. Um, but I do like them. But I'm still positive on Huey. I'm still pro Huey overall. He was still a protagonist. Like he still did what he needed to do to get there. So 100%, 100%. But an interesting journey. Like going from that first sale, like that moment right there was like click. The relationship immediately clicked. Like it was a very early moment, and we know right off the bat they were locked in. Like, but I'm saying like, yeah, if I'm Annie, you don't want to meet some guy who girlfriend just got killed like 2 weeks ago in a very traumatic fashion. That's not. You can do better than that, right? Like you absolutely can do better than that. And I would say the same thing for Annie. Like look, you were going through a trauma. I don't know. I get it because you were dealing with a lot more isolation because you couldn't talk to your mom, and that was key. Like, mom, I hope you're listening because obviously she's now in this like isolated environment with these savages, and they're just taking advantage of her, right? Because she wasn't ready for this. She thought these guys were heroes, not because she was soft, but because she thought she was walking to a place of the best heroes. So you're not coming at it with your guard up, right? I'm sure she could have handled herself better if she had known what to expect. But that's a devastating blow. But her being isolated in that fashion, like I totally get why she runs to Huey, and just like, they managed to, even though he's manipulating the fuck out of her and using her, it makes sense that she would kind of forgive that, right? That makes sense for someone who's gone through that to forgive that, right? The last one I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna introduce some more, but the last one I'm gonna look at right now, man, is really one of the best angles in the show, man. And this is like the heart of the boys, right? Huey and Butcher. It's the heart of the boys, right? The modern, like the front facing part of the boys, not the best part or the most complex part, but man, like an undeniable like barometer of the show, like undeniably, right? Like if we look at this, right, this is the first time that they met up top. This is their first time on the screen together. Huey and Butcher. Butcher and Huey. Thank you guys. Thank you, Marlo. Huey and Butcher, their first time on the screen together. And we remember this dynamic like, hey, Doomy, what's up? Oh, okay, you changed that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So this is the first time that they're on the screen together, and they're starting to get this relationship, right? Like this is where the relationship starts. Okay. And we skip it to the end. Like, would we have expected this ending? Okay, Marlo. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. I mean, I got something I want to talk about related to that name. But I have to do it another time. Okay, but it'll be great. It'll be a good one. So this being the last scene of them, this says a lot. Like, so I want to examine like how we get there. How did we get there from this up top moment, and how much did these characters change over time? Okay, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I feel like Butcher didn't change that much, right? I don't necessarily. What's going on? Okay? It's my real okay. Yeah, you nearly cried. What's going on? Oh, okay, okay. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out. But thank you. I got you. What do you want me to do? Yeah, yeah. It like okay. So the scene is crazy because how we get there. Like with these guys, it's a lot of connections, man, right? It's a lot of emotional connections. It's a lot going on with these two guys, their personal dynamic of influencing each other, right? Huey kind of filling in for his brother. What was his brother's name, man? What was his brother's name? I can't remember what his brother's name is, right? Lenny, right? Lenny. Okay, so he's filling in for Lenny. So he's playing that Lenny role in his heart, right? He is his canary, right? Effectively, he's my canary. Like if you're going too far, he's gonna bring you back. And I think that was true early on, but I think by the time we get to like season 3, like I mean, okay, guys, when he kills Translucent, he stepped across a major line. Like your killer, boom, in that moment. And then, man, I'm gonna fast forward, and I'm gonna have to do this one. I'm gonna have this one separately too. But think about Huey and Maverick, right? Like I killed your dad, and now I'm lying to you. I'm a murderer and a liar. That's just by the evidence that we see. This is just a label that we could put on Huey because you murdered Translucent. Before Butcher, you never murdered anybody. Before season 1 was over, you was already murdering people. And I know it was a choice that you felt like you had to make because if Translucent got out of there, Translucent's going right to Homelander, and you guys are dead, right? Like we 100% get this, but yet you still murdered him, right? We can't ignore that fact. So that's a label that you get. And then when you stood in front of Maverick and you were like, yeah, I was Homelander. Yeah, Homelander killed your dad, right? Or whatever you said. I think you said it was Homelander, right? You really reinforce that. Like you came on both ends of this in this one story, in this one line. You're both a murderer and a liar on the back end of it. So this is who Huey is, right? And you would do a lot of mad, crazy stuff too. So I don't know. Like I don't know that I saw Butcher really pull back. Like okay, there was a couple of moments. I'm trying to think. You may have stopped. Like Victoria got done. Like I mean, you didn't stop him then. I know he struck with the swiftness, but geez, man, like there was a lot of stuff. Like you didn't really sit him down. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of moments in there where I truly, honestly believe that Butcher had more of an effect on you. This is what I got out of this relationship at the very end of it, right? Like, and I feel like at the very end, this is what Butcher wanted. Okay. Butcher had lost. Okay, there's a thing about revenge. Like we have to kind of think about what revenge historically what we've talked about revenge. There's some very old expressions that I treat as almost mythological now, right? Like the wisdom of old people. It's crazy, man, when you're young, right? And old people be telling you stuff, and you're like, yeah, shut up, old dude, right? Whatever. Like you grow up later and realize, man, that old dude was really spitting knowledge, right? So there's a lot of wisdom and things old people be saying, right? And the thing with these two guys here is you lay down with dogs and you wake up with fleas, right? Like he got into bed with these people and he was driven by vengeance. And vengeance is something that they say if you seek vengeance, you dig 2 graves, right? You dig 2 graves. Butcher had to be stopped. He was crazy. Like Butcher was actually crazy, right? He was driven off the deep end. Like he had done so many foul things. I don't think Butcher was redeemable. Because of when we look at his past, when I get the backstory on Butcher, when I get the context of who Butcher really was, it's like, yeah. When I start understanding his father, when you start the trauma that goes there, like some deep rooted childhood trauma, some deep rooted trauma with his brother, right? And this is where Butcher never accepted peace. I know it's gonna sound crazy. But the way to his own peace was in forgiving his father, right? It's one of those things, and I get it. It sounds counterintuitive. I live by the Q code too, right? But when it comes to maintain, if you want to allow yourself real happiness, you have to allow those things to go away. Like you have to, you have to be willing to forgive people. That's it. It's a very healthy. Oh man, you know, I just had to get a new phone too, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Where's my old phone at? Where's my old phone? I had a fat I had a what was that, Z Fold 4, right? And my phone was out, man. Like I'm down with you. I just got my new phone. Like I ordered it. I just got this thing yesterday. So I just went through like 3 weeks of like phone hell. Like my flip didn't work anymore, right? Like it was messed up, man. My phone would cut off in the middle of conversations. So yeah, I've been through it with the phone. Like, man, I'm telling you very recently, it's real out there, man. It's real out there. It totally sucks, man. And like phones are so damn expensive, man. And you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you guys, see, man, I be want to spit so much info, like that Gen X info, man, about phones, right? I'm gonna get back to this, but I tell you, man, I was working I was working for Circuit City when cell phones started getting popular, man. Not like when we first started getting the smaller phones. So this is like trying to think. I'm out of college. I'm living in the valley, so I'm in Cali in the valley, right? And this is when the first PCS phones start coming out, right? And the rep told us this is going to change everything. He looked at it and said, "Yeah, pretty soon every single person's going to have a phone in their pocket." And we're like, "What?" You got to think at this time, like that wasn't going on. Like, we didn't even know, right? But yeah, that's 100%. So like, yeah, phones. I mean, phones. I've been through the changes on phones, man. And you know what, man? I knew better than buying that goddamn flip phone. I knew better. Why? Why do you not buy a flip phone? It's because that's the edge. It's moving parts. This is very simple stuff, right? You got more moving parts, the more likely the shit's gonna break. It's going to break. It's not a if it's gonna break, it's when it's gonna break. Those hinges have so many, right, in their lifetime. And once you exceed that, there's nothing you can do. All the circuits start getting jacked up, right? So all this stuff. So, but why do I end up getting this? Because I can't resist a flip phone, man. I can't. I tried, man. I be fiending for it. As soon as I saw that phone, I was like, yeah, I'm getting one of those. As soon as you ever have anything like that, as soon as you see, like, yeah, I'm getting that. I'm getting that. And that's just where it pagers, flip phones, yeah, that's 100%. But I'm kicking it, man. I'm off the wagon. I'm going cold turkey no more. They ain't gonna kill me no more like that, right? I'm going with a regular solid body phone. There's no moving parts on this thing, okay? To keep it as simple as possible, right? It's a decent phone. It's like an S26. I didn't get the plus because I have a tablet. So I got the big tablet, which fucking dope, by the way, okay? I had to get that for work, but now I'm using it more for play. But anyway, we're going off the subject, okay? So this is the whole thing. Like, I don't know if Butcher could have ever found happiness, right? Looking at him as a person, the past that he had, meeting Becca even seems completely unlikely to me. That's the shocking part. That's the shocking part. And then like they also like Becca loved you, and she didn't have any kids, right? You guys didn't have any kids, right? Like, you know, you're a married couple. Clearly, she wasn't on any form of birth control. Okay, that's it. If I'm diagnosing this couple, okay, Becca wasn't on any kind of birth control, because clearly she got pregnant with Homelander. Unless we're gonna attribute that to compound V spermies, right, or something like that. Um, so it just seems odd, like the length of time they had been together. But that's kind of the scenario we're coming from. And like I said, given his past with his pops, his brother, I'm shocked you. And just him in general, like your military, like you had a lot of stuff. Even that you got with Becca makes me question Becca now. Like I'm looking at Becca sideways, I'm like, damn, do you fell in love with him, right? Okay, and I like okay, whatever, right? But I don't think that he could have. So I think that he wanted to die at the end because think about it. Ryan had just rejected him, right? His mission was over. Like losing your mission in life is deadly, man. It is deadly to lose your mission in life when it's at that level. And once you got your vengeance, you should have like that's the typical way that vengeance has consumed you and you die once you manifest vengeance because your main like thing for living is now gone. All right. Then his dog dies. And that was kind of like, yeah, it's time. Like when the dog died, I'm like, it's time. The dog hung on until it was over, right? He rode it out with you, and now we done. Can I go to sleep now? And he did. And Butcher, I think, manufactured all this at the end so that he could still die in a way that befit him. I died, oi, cunt. I died trying to release a virus to kill all soups. That's how he went out. And I feel like that's very appropriate. And I feel like the role that Huey played was to be right there at that time and to do exactly what he did. I feel like that was Butcher's plan for this, right? What else would he do? What would Butcher do? Like, just you have to roll into another mission. The CIA ain't gonna hire you again. Like you did what you did, but we're not hiring you for anything else. That is done, all right? It's a done one, right? You can maybe on a because you wouldn't be happy doing interviews about how you killed Homelander. Mm-mm. You wouldn't want that going on tours and getting media and writing books about it. So I don't know that he had anything left in him to do other than die. And again, this does kind of complete their arc. The arc that they made together is a great arc of it's a real tough type of friendship. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I know it sounds odd, but their friendship, their relationship itself isn't so odd when you think about like they come together, they build their trust, they betray each other multiple times, they fight each other multiple times, they punch each other in the face, kick each other in the chest, right? Think about that stuff. But you always forgive each other. You always are able to come together. You express your emotions to each other, and you were able to combine around what your common goal was, right? And some things as you grow up, man, you'll realize you get older, don't lose your friends or loved ones over nonsense, right? Like honestly, like sometimes the message has to be you got to work things out with your homie so you can keep the being homies. Sometimes you got to be mad enough to work that out, right? Look, dog, I love you. I'm sorry, like whatever. Sometimes it's not okay, you know. Sometimes we're real friends. Maybe you don't ever really apologize. I just be like, yeah, what up, what up, big head? You know how you do it. So that's a lot in a friendship to be able to make. And for me, the show is 5 years. I don't know if it was 5 years screen time for them, like real time for them, but that's a lot. That's a lot. Like at the end of the day, you know, you punch me in the face, but I know I can trust you and my life is on the line, right? That's a big thing, right? I know you're a bitch ass, but we've been through some battles together, man. We done survived some stuff together. We done some amazing stuff together. All illegal stuff. Okay, everything did was illegal, right? But look at what we did. Like Huey, you can't like Huey. He did change you. I don't know if you get to be like in Victoria Newman's. Even when you branched out, you were still there because like your confidence had changed, your value had changed, right? Like you went up in value as a person post Butcher. So you can't even really be mad because before it started, man, you was afraid to go ask your boss for a raise. You know, so if I look at these, this is an incredible relationship arc. It really is. It's kind of a classic. This is a detailed character arc, right? And one of the best friendships because to me a friendship you gonna get tested, right? I got a lot of friends right now. I'm like it's been tested. It's being tested, man. Can I forgive you for that? Right? Can I forgive you for that? Like I got a homie right now. I haven't talked to in a minute, and he was like totally his fault, right? I'm not gonna lie, totally his fault. Um, I still am willing to be the one to repair a relationship, but like he's kind of going like I don't know if he's in the right place for all that. But I'm open to it. I'm open. Like I've made up with friends. Like you know, like, you gonna do some stuff, man. In a long friendship, you're gonna do some stuff. Somebody's gonna mess up, right? And that's gonna be all right. And sometimes you gotta learn how to deal with that. So always just remember, like any words that I would say is, look, sometimes you gotta work things out with your people, man. You gotta work things out and maintain your good friendships and give people grace when, like, yeah, you're gonna mess up sometimes, right? So looking at this is one of the better like character storylines, and I'm not necessarily surprised once I get to who understanding who Butcher is. The only thing surprising is that Huey would be the one to be able to do it. That's it. And I think it was a lot more appropriate that because it couldn't have been MM or Frenchie, like or any of them. It had to be Huey because it kind of closed his arc with Lenny as well. Right. That's the thing. It really, really closes the arc. So I felt like, yeah, this was worthy. This was 100% worthy, and it's a great kind of look at the show overall. So I'm gonna dip right now. I just got some groceries delivered, but I'm gonna put a couple of these more on. So Marlou, okay, let's go. Like you hear right now, Marlou Wheat. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna dip, but I'll be back and just hit me up on the channel or whatever. Like, let me know what's going on, and we'll talk about what. Like, if you want to talk about what I'm gonna do in the next ones, I'll put you up on game. All right. So I'll be here, you be here, and we'll just get it going.